So Addie has been on SCD for 2.5 years, and in the beginning it was really difficult, learning, trying to figure it all out, but as the years have progressed, it has become extremely easy. Meal planning's very important. In the beginning, you have to really think about it. You have to be very aware of it. If you don't meal plan, what you find is your child's starving. They're hungry, you don't have anything, then they're waiting. If you don't meal plan, in the first probably year and a half, you're going to end up being stuck one day.
I think that meal planning and organizing the food plan and your meal plan is the most important thing you can do to make the whole diet treatment a workable thing. How you plan the meals, how you shop, how you cook, that makes everything doable. Without that, it just becomes an overwhelming amount of work.
You know, I had been so disorganized in the kitchen, just like forever, basically. And we finally sat down and made a system. And at this point, we go to Trader Joe's every weekend. We buy the same food every week, meat and fish and chicken and whatever. And we buy a bunch of vegetables. And our habit is like barbecue the meat, roast a bunch of vegetables in the oven, or maybe saute it in some butter on the stove, make a giant salad, and that's it. I don't ever get out a cookbook anymore, and it's ironically way less stress than I used to have in the kitchen before the diagnosis.
The meals that I make will often give her 2 to 3 days worth of lunches as well, so it saves me a little bit of time. So I always make in bulk, where we can either freeze it or she has extra for lunches and even dinners. We try to change everything else up enough, the things that go on the side with it or the snacks, that it makes it doable, but always cooking in bulk for her so that we have it, and then we can rotate things through.
We have our routine shopping trip every weekend. Avi makes the yogurt once a week. I usually make 1 or 2 baked goods every weekend. And then we have our, sort of standard approach to meals. Forget the cookbook. We just, grill meat, roast vegetables or saute vegetables, make a salad, and we're done. We just cook 50% more food than we think we need for dinner, and those leftovers are for lunch the next day or maybe the next 2 days. And both of the kids pack their own lunches after dinner. Leftovers go straight into the lunch boxes, and then what's left beyond that goes in the fridge, and we're done. And it actually makes packing the lunches easier and the cleanup easier.
Effective meal planning doesn't need to be hard, and you can do it in many different ways. First, decide what meals and foods you want to serve over the upcoming week or weeks. This means thinking about the dishes and recipes that you and your family will like. It can be helpful to have a number of cookbooks or recipe websites available to help inspire you with ideas. Write out the names of these dishes, then on another piece of paper, write the shopping list with ingredients needed to make these dishes. It also may be useful to record these on a calendar. As time goes on, your family can see and rate what dishes they like or didn't, and which ones should be made again.
I always make sure that there's something that she can grab. She always has a lunch and a dinner that she can grab. And then she has her snacks as well. That way, if she's in a situation and I'm at work, or if somebody calls up, or she wants to go do something, she will always have something. Because the most important thing, and the meal planning allows for this, is I want her to lead as normal of a life as possible. And if just making sure her food's ready, then that's what we do.
Avi eats every 2 hours, so snacks are really important. The snacks for him typically would be dried fruit, nuts, cheese, fruit. And then there are a couple of different commercially available alternatives to granola bars. So we have a drawer in the kitchen that's just full of all of that kind of stuff.
I think if we put planning time into anything at this point with SCD, it's the snacks, and I think that's a bigger deal, and especially the growing 16-year-olds. It's like you say, if you're not careful, they'll eat your arm. He's constantly hungry, which is great because he's healthy, that's really good, but you've got to have a lot of food all the time around. That's where most of his responsibility is these days, I think, is figuring out that in a given day, whether it's a day that's a routine day at school, a day where he's going on a trip and we're going to be on an airplane for 6 hours or something, you have to think ahead and where he has to be part of that, knowing how much he's going to bring. And it's like a backpack full of snacks sometimes.
It's important when meal planning to incorporate snack ideas along with breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Write these out as well. Remember that in meal planning, variety is the spice of life. A whole array of foods that are SCD approved are awaiting you. These foods should be explored. As time goes on, you'll accumulate a large number of recipes. Meal planning will be easier and become second nature.